All right, so let's try and tie everything that we've learned so far about APIs together by actually building out one. So let's go to Airbnb.com and we're going to just find some place in London. And we'll go ahead and just make a search. And I think the API that we're going to make is going to be one that just gives us back data on listings. So on the left-hand side here, you can see that we have different kind of listings for apartments, places to live. So I want to look at what this listing contains, and then I want to create a data set that represents a listing. So we're going to create a kind of a mock database that's going to serve as the data for our API. And then our API will be able to interact with that data set and serve out the data in return. So we'll take a look at it as we go. For now, I just want to take a look at this listing and create the data set, and then we'll kind of map out where to go from there. So looking at this listing, we have a header, we have a description, we have an image, and we have a favorite button. Let's go ahead and go to our editor, and I have a data.js file here that I've created. You can do the same, and we'll say listing equals an array, and each listing is going to have an ID and then a header, and it's going to be London 2-room apartment, for example, description, and we'll just write something here, and we also need the price, and let's see what else, an image, and I think that's enough. So we'll have an image URL. It should be, some CDN image. Yeah, something like that. And I think that's enough. So let's just duplicate this here, and we'll give it and we'll just change the headers, and that'll be it. All right, now we have our listings, and we want to go back to our index.js and start kind of map out what we want to do. Just going to export this out. Let's say, all right, and we might do some changes to this, but for now, let's go to our index.js file. All right, so let's think what we want to do. So when someone sends a GET request to /listings, we want to return the full list of listings. Then when someone sends a GET request to listings and some ID, then we want to return the specific listing matching the ID. And then we want to post. All right, I want to swap the order here a little bit. So when we get a post to listings, we want to create a new listing. And let's see. So when we get a get to listings /ID, then we want to return the specific listing. When we get a put to listings.id, we want to update the specific listing matching the ID. And when we get a delete to listings ID, we want to delete the listing from the list. Delete the listing matching the ID from the list. All right. So that's what we want to do. And you can see here already, these endpoints here are being reused. And we are using the request methods to reuse them. So it gives us a lot of flexibility when we're talking about a specific resource. We can reuse that endpoint. So we don't have to create an endpoint called listings create or listings get list or whatever. We can just have it a little bit more clean and use the request methods to kind of differentiate. So let's go ahead and create the listings get request. So what we want to do is we want to grab the listings from the dataset here. So we'll go and import that. Data. Let's go ahead and see. And we will res send. Let's see. Whoops. Put that in here. And we might have to do some changes there. And let's just see what happens when we do this. Go ahead and update the application. Okay, and we're in the world of Node.js now, and you will quickly figure out that there are some differences between how we write JavaScript in Node.js and how we write JavaScript in the browser. Let's see. So we needed to do module.exports listings. Let's see if that makes something happen here. So if we go to listings here, all right, now we have the JSON here that we defined in, we have the JSON object that we sent back from the get handler here. So let's go ahead and just do that in Postman as well. And we'll go get, and you can see that automatically we get a status 200 OK, and it's a little more neatly organized in Postman. So here's our data set. All right, so now we have the data set. So this handler here is listening to get requests coming in with the path of listings and the request method of get. And then it's sending back the data. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to be able to update or create a new listing. So app.post to listings and say res, and we want to be able to post a new listing in here. So what's going to happen is on the request, we're going to have a body, and we're going to read that, and we are going to get the properties from the body, and we'll put that into the dataset. So let's go ahead and define a method here that allows us to operate on the data. And listing, it's going to take in the data, and it's going to, I think we're going to just add to the existing data sets. So let's say it's going to take data and the new item, and then we're going to say let data equals require data.js, and then we'll say let's go ahead and just remove this, and we'll operate on the global data here, which is not something I recommend, but just for the sake of the API here, we are going to do it. So we're going to say that the data equals, and then we're going to spread out the data, and we're going to add the new item. So this just copies the array over into a new array, and then we add the new item at the end. And we are going to hit save on that, and we are just going to console log the request body for now. So let's go to Postman, and we're going to go posts, listings, and we're going to grab one of these, and we are going to go to body. Let's actually make a new request. We'll add post, localhost 3000 listings, and then we'll go body, and we'll say raw, and we're going to say JSON. And let's say for, and this is going to be a new apartment in central London. And let's go ahead and post that. Right. And we're not sending a response. So let's see. We got undefined here, so let's just go ahead and check the documentation. Express. All right, so we need to add a middleware here. If I don't. All right, so we need to do this. Let's go ahead and go back, and we'll do npm install and -save, I believe. And I think that's by default now. And then we will go and we will do require it and add it to app as a middleware. Okay. So this adds a middleware that allows us to extract the body and read it inside of Express. So don't think too much about that for now. Just know that it allows us to take whatever we send in here, we can read that inside of our function here. So let's go ahead and post again. And let's see, looks like this is deprecated. Interesting. So use individual JSON URL encoded middlewares. Okay. So let's go ahead and go back and see. All right. So this is what we want. Express JSON. And then we will go ahead and put that in here instead of the body parser. And we can remove that from our dependencies. Make sure we reinstall. And then we will start up the server again. So let's send this again. And now we have the request body here. So what we want to do is we want to add that to the data. So we're going to go ahead and do add listing. And we'll just pass in the request body. And then we'll send the, oops, that's the wrong method. We'll do it here. And then we'll send the data in response. Okay, so we need to stop it and start it up again. And now if we post this, we get a array back with all of the items, and we get the last item. The item that we posted in is now the last item in this list. And you can see the status is 200 OK, but we actually want to have 201 created. So let's go ahead and add that. And we'll say status is 201. And I think yeah, that should do it. Let's go ahead and stop the server, start it again. I think we'll just we'll send back the full list for now. And let's go ahead and we'll post this in again. And whenever I restart the server, we're sort of starting over because this isn't persisted anywhere. So we're not saving it into a database. It's just in memory in the application. So now we can see up here we have the status code 201 created. All right. So now we have the ability to get a list of all the listings. So if we try to get the list now, then you can see that we get the new item as well in this list. And we have the ability to add items to the list as well. So if we add another one, ID 5 and cozy little apartment and we hit send. Then we add another one to the end of the list, and we get the entire list back. All right, so now that we have that, we can focus on operating on a single listing. And I think we are going to stop here, and we will do that in a separate video. So thank you so much for tuning in again, and I hope this was useful. And in the next video, we'll take a look at how we can operate on a specific listing. So I'll see you there.